the show. We are now on Renee Speaks Golden Nuggets with Consuela Muñoz. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. And Consuela, thank you so much for that fantastic episode of Renee Speaks. I cannot wait to dive a little bit deeper into the conversation with you, especially as we talked so much about how what you were saying resonated so much with me as an entrepreneur. It truly is a challenge to not be distracted by all of the shiny objects that can pull us in different directions. And I love how you said we have to have power goals in order for us to stay focused and know what it is that we're supposed to be working on. Because those power goals are driven by the individual things that we do on a daily and weekly basis. And what you were talking about, the 12-week year, was brilliance. Absolute brilliance. I love that. And if anyone has any questions about what it is we're talking about, they're going to have to go watch the original episode on Renee Speaks. And because here in Golden Nuggets, we're going to dive a little bit deeper into what you were talking about earlier. So thank you for joining me here in the green room, we're going to call it, to talk Golden Nuggets. And so, Consuela, can you tell me how you stay motivated and disciplined in your pursuit of goals, despite the distractions and the challenges that may arise? How do you stay motivated and disciplined?
I absolutely love this question because this is something we didn't get in our previous conversation. And I talk a lot about, because I talk about squirrels. And so we got to get our tails in gear, y'all. Now, I could have said any other word, but I'm going with tails because cute little squirrel tails. But really, we got to, and so we're talking about goals, evaluating every idea, accountability, which is owning the goals. But that last one is the R, and that is rewards. You have to reward yourself along the way. We talked about how important your daily actions are and keeping track of the amount of actions you're taking each week, because we know the results will happen. And a lot of times we wait to reward ourselves until we get that goal. And that could be the whole 12 weeks. So how do you stay motivated on week 5 when you're not there yet, when you're not seeing it? And so we like to think of, we create our reward system before we get started. And we figure out, how are we going to reward ourselves for taking action, not just the result. But if I said I'm going to do this every day, and I did it every day this week, and I had 12 actions I was going to take in this week, and I hit 7 of them, I get a reward set for that. And so I know I'm going to get a reward. So one of my rewards, if I hit 50% of my goals for the week, I get to have an hour of squirrel time where I just play. I'm either creating, painting, drawing, playing on Canva, but I get an extra hour of create time that I've earned as a reward for doing the actions I said were important to me. So rewarding yourself along the way is how you stay motivated. But also, we have a community, right? So coming together once a week and saying, yeah, I hit my 50%, I hit 75%, and recognizing each other. An excuse fest. We're not having that. No. But we are going to say, yeah, I hit my goals, or I fell short a little bit this week, but I'm going to do harder this week coming up, and recognize each other for the actions we take.
Yes.
It really helps all of us stay accountable and stay motivated when it gets tough, because we know it gets tough. It's a simple thing and a simple process, but that doesn't mean it's easy. And how can we support each other along that way to make sure we stay motivated to the end?
Right. And that, I love that. And everyone's reward could be something different, because you love doing being creative and crafty and doing Canva and having an outlet for the things that you enjoy, the things that bring you happiness and that kind of thing. Because although we love our businesses and building the business and helping others and that kind of thing, we still have to have some me time. We still have to have whatever that looks like. And our reward, it could be a massage, it could be going to get your nails done, it could be doing whatever it is
Going to the movies,
exactly. And I think that
buying a new chicken, baby chicken. I have chicken. Like, looking at baby chickens, whatever it is. But we want to make sure the reward is also aligned to what your goal is. So if we talk about like, oh, I'm going to lose 10 pounds, my reward cannot be to eat a chocolate cake. Like it has to be like, if I reach a certain point, like I get a new outfit that aligns.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So it has to
smaller
align.
size.
Right, well, hopefully, right? But it has to align to what we want to achieve, and that the reward has to align to that in a way, and something, because some people are like, oh, but I have so much trouble setting rewards because I get a massage anytime I want. Like, okay, what is something you don't let yourself have that becomes your reward? So figure out those things that you feel you've put off limits, and how do you turn that into your reward and have it aligned to that specific goal that you've set for yourself.
I
Very
love that.
important.
So good. So good. And that also would entail some self-awareness.
Yes.
I think, because you have to, because when you get so in and you're laser focused and you're just open, you're just so focused on building it and being the best and doing all the things, you can sometimes lose yourself in that. And then, when you have to make a switch and you're thinking, and I can only speak for myself. Okay, so, and then I had to stop and I think, and I'm like, who am I? Without this business, without my husband, without all the house, with all the things, who am I at my core? What brings me joy? I have to stop and think. Okay.
It's hard. It sounds like, well, we should know ourselves. It's easy, but it can be difficult. And it can be something that you're easily able to help others do, to see themselves clearly, but yourself, you're like, well, I don't know. And so that's why for me, I told y'all I'm a bit of a nerd, strengths nerd all the way, but the strengths helps that along, right? It is the most amazing parts of you. And when you're feeling like, oh, I don't know, we go back to that strength and who I am, because your strengths are you always, regardless of what work you do, regardless of your personal environment, that is you. And so it is, and it's the best of you, but it's something that's so natural to you and it makes you so amazing that you don't necessarily realize it till you look at it. And when you get your report, I mean, there it is. It's black and white, words on a page, and those words are from somebody else saying, yes, this is how you're most amazing. And we don't want you to lose sight of it. So we keep that as part of our focus. And that helps you figure out, this is what I'm most amazing at, to figure out those goals and to come back to when things get tough. Because when I know there are days when you're like, man, I should just go back to bed. This is not working. But okay. All right, take a deep breath. Let me look at this report. Let me remember why I'm so amazing. Let me look at my goals that I have set and the actions I put with them and remind myself what I'm here to do.
That's right.
To bring yourself out of that, man, I'm going to go back to bed kind of day, right?
Right. Yeah, I love that. That is so good to have those reminders written down so you can see them. This was the goal I set for myself. This is how far I got. I am pretty amazing. And even though it seems like the world is falling apart, this part got done and I can do this. I can overcome whatever is happening right now to deal with this thing and make me want to stay out of bed and keep on moving forward.
Like, I'm getting out of my pajamas today for sure.
Right, for sure.
For sure. I mean, I can't even tell you how many times we get to our Monday morning meeting and people had felt like the week really didn't go that well. And they do their review and be like, no, I actually did 70% of my action. So it's how you can feel. But when you look at the data, then you're like, oh. So people talk about knowing your numbers, and you need to know your numbers, your financial numbers. But I think keeping track of the actions you take is just important, because you then can know that you got more done than you feel like you did. So we can feel bad about something else that can change our perception on how our week actually went.
That's right.
And actually seeing them can motivate us to be like, no, I got a lot done. I'm going to get even more done this week. Right. And
That's
that
right.
is another way of really just helping us stay motivated to keep doing the things.
For sure. Because you can quantify it.
Yeah.
It's
Like,
not like something you make up in your head and like, oh yeah, I did a whole lot of stuff.
I did a bunch. What is a
I
bunch?
did a
That's
bunch.
not a number. That's like you put a dash of salt in. Come on, I don't know how much your dash is. I've got little fingers. What are you talking about? Right? But
Exactly. How big is
actually
your
looking
dash?
at it. What's the difference between a dash and a pinch, right? Like, I don't know.
Right?
Right? Like,
Exactly.
I don't know. But I know, like, between 1 and 2, I got it. Then I know, right?
That's right. That's right. 1 + 2 is 3, and
There we
I
go.
did them. So that is amazing. Consuela, can you share with us any particular mindset shifts that could be helpful for overcoming shiny object syndrome?
So, like, how long is the show? No. So one of the biggest things I feel like folks coming in is some of that perfectionism, procrastination, but also some fear of success. That quite a bit. People having to really get over that because putting yourself out there, what I could be successful and then I'd have more work to do. And so the stories people tell themselves about that can hold them back from taking those actions. And so we say, nope, these actions are important. If you say an action is important and you don't take that for the first whole 5 weeks or 6 weeks, that's a breakdown. Let's look at why that's not working. And let's make that shift and be like, no, I'm afraid that if I do this, but there's that self-awareness, getting into why am I not pushing forward on this action? Why am I not doing this thing that I know is super important? So that fear of success can really get in people's way. And it's one that I feel like sneaks up on people. Being afraid of failure, people kind of got a handle on that one, right? Or procrastinating. But that fear of success and what that could mean can really sneak up on people. So being ready to be successful and changing their story around what that means to them can make all the difference in how many actions they'll take each week.
Wow. That is so relatable. And it's so relatable to me getting over the fear of success because it's something and I'm going to keep it personal to myself. I always want that for other people. I'm like, you can do this. You're amazing. You're great. You're going to have this. You're going to have that because you do this. And so I'm always encouraging others and telling them, this is for you. You are going to be blessed beyond measure because you're whatever it is. But it's always them. It's never for me. So when it started happening for me, I was like, oh, it's scary.
It is.
It was the weirdest thing, and I'm so glad to know that I'm not alone and that someone else can understand what that fear of success actually looks like and feels like, and that there's a whole community that you're associated with that can talk you through what this is and how to get over it. This fear of success is a thing, and I had no idea it even existed before it started happening to me. And I'm so grateful and so thankful for all the blessings that have come my way to me personally, because it's allowed me now to do things and have conversations and be something more than I was because of all the blessings that have become mine. And I just can't thank God enough for blessing me in this business and us and the lives that we get to touch, whether it's the virtual assistants on our team or the clients that we serve at Executive Help Now. It's just so incredibly amazing to be able to do that every single day. But getting over that fear of success really took a toll on me for a minute because it was just an inconceivable notion to me that I could be telling everyone else how successful they're going to be and have all kind of belief in them and help them believe in themselves. But when it came to me personally, not so much. And I'm like, why? Why? I know, that I know blessings come and that God is real and all of that. How come it couldn't be for me? Of course it can be for me. So I have my community too that helped me get a grip and say, look, lady, success is for you too.
Well, and again, it's that one that sneaks up on you, right? Because it's easy to say, like, oh, yeah, I procrastinate. People will say that, or I like to perfect things. Like, that's easy, right? To kind of, but to think, it feels a little different to think you're afraid of being successful. And we don't really acknowledge it. But once we do, that makes the difference, because then we're like, what? And we figure out, what have we told ourselves about what successful means? And now we can be like, no, this, like, anything, you might be afraid, like, you can't handle the workload, or you will let people down. Whatever it is that you're telling yourself why you're afraid of that success, you can now face it and change that story to one that actually works for you and does open you up to all the blessings, because the blessings are always there.
Yes.
They're always there. But sometimes we're not open to them if we're in that state of fear, whatever we're afraid of. So we have to face them if we're going to be able to open and receive everything that is waiting for us.
Absolutely. Oh, that's so good. So good. Being open to receiving. That is brilliance. That's a golden nugget right there.
I think so. I really think it is.
Yes, be open to receiving. That's so critical. So, Consuela, as we dive a little bit deeper, how can entrepreneurs determine which opportunities are worth pursuing and which ones are distractions? So we're talking about shiny object syndrome in this episode of Renee Speaks Golden Nuggets. And we want to know, how do we determine which opportunities are worth pursuing and which ones are truly like distractions, looking like opportunities in disguise?
So I have a big idea generator. That's like my distraction. I have brand new ideas for like completely separate business ideas that have nothing to do with what I'm working on. So I popped in that I got baby chickens, right? I have chickens, call myself a farmer because I'm raising chickens and selling eggs, right? My husband's like, you can't be a farmer. I'm like, I'm selling eggs. And now
right, you can be a millionaire.
How do you think I got all this gold? I sell eggs. But so here I am. I'm a speaker and I help folks with shiny object syndrome. And yet I have this brilliant idea for a product for my chickens. And when I've shared this idea, people are like, oh, yeah, you should work on that. But I don't work on it, because even though that could do really well, and it's like a super brilliant idea, if I do say, it has nothing to do with what I'm trying to achieve in my business. And so for me, that's a distraction. Like maybe that's something I work on once in my bonus week. Like, oh, I'll play with my chicken idea in my bonus week, right? But it's not where my focus is, because it has nothing to do with me growing my business. I had this other really cool experience idea, like go to the bar and have this fun thing to do. Really, people are like, oh, when is that happening? Where do I do that? I'm like, no, it's just an idea in my head, right? But that's on my distraction board, because it has nothing to do with who I am as a speaker and what I'm doing with my business.
Wow.
So, and how do I get to that? How do I know those are distractions? It comes down to that power goal again. And that power goal isn't just some random power goal for the 12 weeks. It's aligned up to my bigger vision. So I have this giant, ginormous, amazing 10-year goal.
Ooh.
And then I have my 36-month goal.
Okay.
And that is aligned up to that. And so my 12-week goals align up into my 36-month goal, align up into that bigger vision. And selling a chicken product has nothing to do with my big vision.
Got you.
It could make a bunch of money. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
who knows? It could be that, weird little products make millions of dollars someday. It could be that, but it has nothing to do with what I want to achieve in my lifetime.
Got you.
So I'm not working on it right now. It's a plaything for sometimes, but it is not. It's a distraction from when I'm doing my focused work, because it doesn't align up to that big, ginormous. I call it my ginormous goal. It doesn't align up to that. So then it's not for me right now. I keep track of it. I'm not going to forget it, because there's this thing of like, we play an idea over and over. If we leave it in our head, you'll play through it. You'll cycle through it. You'll be sitting at a stoplight thinking about that idea.
Right.
And all the time, if you keep all those ideas in there, imagine you've got 3 ideas and you're cycling through all 3 of them. Off how much churning that is, how much confusion that is, that's not clear about where you're headed. So we pull them out.
Right.
And then we're like, nope, this is what I'm doing. And so it's really easy to see when something is a distraction. So that's for me. I have all these crazy business ideas that don't relate. But other people, it could be like, well, I want to do a podcast and write a book and do a thing, right? Like whatever, a blogging or whatever it is, all those things. And so if you try to spread your energy on all those things,
it's a lot.
pretty soon you start out here, your energy's like, woo, I can do all these things. And then you got all these projects started. And then next week you have less energy because something happened or whatever. And you're like, dang, I still have these 3 things up here going. And I'm at my energy here now. I can't do them.
Right.
And then doubt comes in and bad feelings. And we don't want that. So it's pick the thing that I'm going to work on right now. And with the 12 weeks, you can have building 12 weeks where I'm going to do a little bit this week, this 12 weeks, it's going to build into what I do the next 12 weeks, what's going to build, or you can do a one-off thing. Like I'm going to write a book this 12 weeks. I'm writing a book. Everything else, nothing. I'm writing a book in this 12 weeks, but you're going to do all the parts for that book. And imagine if you only focused on that book for 12 weeks, how much further you'd get then. I'm kind of writing this book, but I'm also getting my podcast going and I'm trying to speak twice every week. You can easily see how if I'm writing the book this 12 weeks, those other things can kind of happen, but I am really focused on getting this book from writing it through the editing, getting the publisher, all the things that you have to do to get a book done and out.
Yeah.
But you can do that in 12 weeks. We know people that do it. You can do it in 12 weeks if you're focused. If you're not focused, you could be at that for 12 years.
Absolutely.
Right? I know people that have done a book in 12 weeks, and I know people have been working on it for 12 years and aren't there yet, right? So it is back to that power goal that you've set, that thing that's so important to you. Then it becomes really easy to shed the things that aren't. It just becomes easy.
Right. Well, thank you so much for that incredible wisdom, all those many golden nuggets. And I love how you were talking about the distractions and how you got to get them out of your head. But I love the idea that you have about having a distraction board so you don't lose
the impact. Yeah, the impact board. So we've got
board.
You write your goals at the top of it. It's like a whiteboard that we use. You write your goals at the top, and then you've got this big area to store your actions and distractions. Very important.
Actions and distractions, because sometimes those distractions that are just distractions for the moment or the distraction for this particular time and space. But maybe somewhere down the line, there could come a time when this could actually become the focus, or it could be where you take your interest, or like you said, and as you discussed, every year there's 13 weeks, and in that 12 weeks you're doing your thing that you're focused on, and in that 13th week, this could now become your 13th week thing that you do, so it doesn't get lost, and you can continue to nurture that goal and that desire and that interest, and not completely lose yourself in your business because you have your list of distractions. I'm going to call them distractions in air quotes, but they're the things that make you feel good, the things that interest you as a person, and it's part of your self-care.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Because that's so important to take care of yourself.
That playtime. And I, in my years, I've done many different diets, right? And I'm at the point where I'm not saying yes to a diet if they tell me I can't have chocolate. Like, no. If you're not going to let me have chocolate, no, I'm not. I'm not eating cabbage every day, all day. No, I need to have some chocolate here and there. And so this is the same kind of thing. If you say I can't create or can't ideate, that's going to be hard for me to do. But if I say, well, I get this week to do it, or I earn an hour of it, that's different. I get some, but I control it. It doesn't control me. It's not running willy-nilly everywhere it wants to. I'm saying, no, you get an hour this week. You get this week to work on those things. So you are in charge. Yes. And then you're going to get what you want. That's how it works.
Exactly. And you get your rewards. And rewards are so important as you continue to hustle and you're building and you're focused on the vision and the goals that lead up to the vision, and you're producing and you are accomplishing and achieving. that 13th week is your reward and your rewards along the way of the accomplishments that you achieve every single week. And it's important to remember to celebrate along the way, celebrate along the journey. It's so important. So, last and final question, because I know we're running out of time. This has been so incredibly amazing. How can entrepreneurs strive to strike a balance between being open to new opportunities and staying focused on their long-term goals?
So again, it's having that time. It's having that time for that. Bringing them in, you evaluate them, put them on the board, but you do want to, it's a quick evaluation, because if you got squirrel brain, you can't be spending all day thinking about if you're going to do this thing or not, because you'll end up jumping in, right? So you're quickly going to go through this thing and be like, you know what? I'm going to store it here. It may be something I do in the next 12 weeks, or it may be something that sits on the board for a year or two, or it may be something that I'm looking at it 12 weeks later, like, what was I even thinking, right? But you have to allow those things come in, because if you try to block them, it's just like trying to never eat chocolate. It's not going to work. You have to take them in, look at them, decide what you want to do with them, make that decision,
right?
And make the decision in the favor of staying focused towards your goals. But you have to let them in and look at them. Otherwise, you won't have that balance.
Right. So we do take them in, look at the opportunities, take in the opportunities, look at the opportunities, see if they align with the purpose and with the vision, and then determine whether or not they go on the action distraction impact board, or if they actually do need to become a part of the process of our current plan. So I love that. That is fantastic. So any closing thoughts for our viewing audience about shiny object syndrome?
Well, one thing I really like to say, and if you are listening to this anywhere, go ahead and say this along with me, but the more you focus, the more you impact, and you are meant to impact the world. So Renee, I'll ask you to say it with me. The more I focus,
the more I focus,
the more I impact,
the more I impact,
and I am meant to impact the world.
And I am meant to impact the world. Oh, that felt so good.
That's right. That's right. Say it every day to yourself. Say it every day to yourself.
Will do. Oh, Consuela, it has been absolutely amazing having you on Renee Speaks Golden Nuggets, and I wish you nothing but the absolute best.
Thank you so much, Renee.
All right, take care.